Everybody, this is podcast number 2 for the week. Sometimes inspiration strikes and you got a microphone and a camera and maybe an audience. I hope, fingers crossed, you're enjoying this content. This is a super random episode, but I'm going to talk about 3 topics that are completely unrelated. Number 1 is we'll start off with offers. What actually is an offer? And when I track an offer on the website, what am I putting over at prepbasketball.net? So what is an offer and what does it mean? The second thing is transfers. I want to share a little bit about how I would fix the current transfer rule within UHSAA. And the third thing is volleyball. No. I'm not going to be starting the Utah High School Volleyball podcast, but just an interesting thought experiment about how volleyball games are won and lost and what would happen if we did that in high school basketball. It'll never happen. That's what I woke up thinking about today. Okay, so let's get to the first thing. What on earth is an offer? So when I put on the website and I click the button, received an offer, it's usually because a player has posted something on social media or reached out and told me, hey, this coach has called and offered me a spot. Now, what that actually is, I don't have the time to go through and vet because they are wide ranging. So it can be something like marketing, right? So a couple years ago, I think it was Bryant University offered like 126 players, and every player was posting on social media. I remember it was Bryant University, right? Obviously, 126 players were not going to go to Bryant University in the class of, I think it was 2025, to play basketball. That was never going to happen because the offers were more, hey, we're interested, but there's nothing to like do. You know what I mean? There's nothing that it's just sort of not much. Here, I think my work email might be sending notifications. So when I put an offer on there, I'm not vetting if it's legit or not legit. How do you know if what is actually happening? So oftentimes it will come with some type of, if it's like a legitimate, I want you to come play basketball at this school, then there will be opportunities to go visit the college. The coach will be asking you to come on campus to visit the school. I've done this now with AJ in football and also with basketball. And though they're different sports, there are some similarities that I've been able to see. So oftentimes a coach is trying to get you to come out for a visit. Some schools will pay for it. Others cannot pay for it. But it's a great idea to go visit the campus. If you really want to go play at that school, don't just post on social media. Be proactive in it. Because if you think about it, a coach is probably going to reach out and say, hey, I really like you. I want to offer you a spot on the team if you want to come here. But that can go away in 2 days because there could be a whole bunch of people who sign commitment paperwork. And if you don't do it, you're out. So yeah, it's an offer, but especially if it's like after your freshman or your sophomore year, even into your junior year, if you can't actually commit, then it's cool. It's cool for social media for sure. It's cool to be wanted. I have I would throw no shade on anybody who wants to post about this stuff. It's good for the school to get notoriety. It's good for the kid to feel wanted. It's good for the high school or for the club program. Post away. I'm not going to sit here and police your social media. But when it comes down to it, you want to know what are the financial implications of that offer? Meaning, are they offering you scholarship money? How much scholarship money? Is it just an academic? Is it an offer to play on their developmental team? Because some schools, don't just have a varsity college team. Some schools have developmental teams, they have JV teams, and there may be no basketball money involved, and they may just say, "We want you to come in and develop and be on our developmental team." This is pretty common. I know in NAIA and Division III schools, they'll have this, some, not all. So you want to clarify, what does that mean? Um, and what are the financial implications of it? Is it a full ride? Do you have to pay? And if you can get that information, if the coach comes prepared with that information, then I would say it's a much more legitimate offer than, a phone call or a text. Um, the the thing that is always a little bit interesting to me is it's like I have offers and I have interest from. Well, I don't not going to put interest. It's like interest from all these schools. Okay, there's no way to know what does that mean? They showed up to your game, they showed up to your practice. I mean, I I don't know. Again, I'm not going to sit here and thumbs down your post or anything like that. If that was even a possibility, I'm not going to do it. But it's like sometimes the marketing can go too far, I guess I would say. And so at the end of the day, especially like in the 2026 class, I think I looked and there were let me see here. 2026. I want to say it's 81 players who have posted that they have. Maybe it's not 81. I don't even have. Oh wait, I got to get into the. Wait for it. I got to get into the admin on the back end to see the exact number because I don't have it posted. 2026. Oh, 71. Sorry, 71 players who have posted on social media somewhere they have an offer, and I think that's great. But as a parent and as a player, you want to know, is it actually committable? Is there teeth to it? Can I sign something? Do you want to go there? And the coach should be able to share this information with you, right? Is it just a text like, "Hey, I really like you. I want you to be on the team." That's cool. Post away. But then if you say, "Hey, can we get on a follow-up call? I want to talk about finances. I'm considering committing." And if they ghost you, I don't know what to say. That's probably not good news, is what I'm going to say. So that's a little bit about the offer side of things. So I don't vet them. I don't validate them. If I know the kid or if I know the parents and they post about it, I'll reach out and just say, "Hey, is this committable?" And if they're like, "Yes," sometimes you gotta strike while that iron's hot. I think there's too much of this game playing that happens. Like if you like the school and if that's where you want to go, and if that coach wants you, what are you holding out for? Especially with the transfer rules in college being so crazy. It's so easy to transfer schools. Then go commit. If it's a full ride or if it's most of your education is paid for and you like the coach and you think you can play and you can compete, I say don't play the offer game. Don't stock offers, not first of many or anything like that. Take it and run with it. That would be my advice. But speaking of transfers, let's get into the current state of the UHSAA transfer rule. And I can really only speak from a basketball perspective and why I think it is still very imperfect and broken, and why I think it needs to be fixed. So, I was at the hearings when they decided. There was a public hearing where they decided to you have to sit out for half the year, and then you can, so it would be like, we think there's going to be less hearings, which okay, that's fine. A hearing, I think I read an article or was a report from the Utah legislature. It was about 12 years ago, and I want to say it was like $1,500 it costs taxpayers per hearing. I don't remember what the exact number is, but so let's just say it's $2,000 every time there's a hearing. So that's a good idea for us to not have a lot of these hearings. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy. I do not want to have more hearings. But that being said, the sit out half the year thing is not going to fly for a number of reasons. From a competitive balance standpoint, if you think about, let's say you had 3 players coming in who are all really high level basketball players and they had to sit out half the year. And so you end up, number one, bringing in 3 high level basketball players halfway through the year. Let's say you didn't have a very good record in the first half of the year. You start playing a little bit better. You start to gel, all this stuff. And then you're coming into the playoffs and your RPI is pretty tanked. So is it a win for the teams who played well the whole year, had their full roster intact? They get a 1 or a 2 seed, and now they got to play a team that just brought in 3 or 4 transfers halfway through the year in the first round of state. I think that's going to be challenged, and we'll see how that goes. So that's a little bit of a if I can go like Old Testament bizarre theology here, it's a little bit like splitting the baby in half. It's like I don't know. I don't really know if this is what it was intended to be for in sports that are governed by the RPI. So rather than complain about it, I think there's an easy way to fix the transfer rule, and it's this: after your freshman year or after your sophomore year, you are given as an athlete and as a family, you are given one free, no questions asked, no making up stories, no fake renting houses, none of the stuff that everybody does and everybody knows it. You don't have to do any of that anymore. You get one time. You can just transfer, no penalty. You go in there transferring, using my one, done, right? Transfer schools. It's what's happening in college, right, wrong, or indifferent. I think you should get at least one time to be able to do that. Now, let's say you are going to transfer after your junior year for your senior year. Okay. This is where, or you're going to transfer a second time. So after your freshman year, you transfer to another school. After your sophomore year, you try to transfer to another school for your junior year. This is where the current rules go into place. And if you do not hit whatever the thing is, whatever the reason for the transfer in the current rule book, if you don't do that, then you have to sit out 1 year. No more half year. You're sitting out the full year. So if you're going in, let's say that you play somewhere your freshman year, your sophomore year, you transfer your junior year and it's terrible and you want to transfer for your senior year. Or you play there your freshman, sophomore, and junior year, and now you want to go somewhere your senior year. In any of those situations, you would have to prove that it's a legitimate move, or you can go to a hearing. But the consequences of that hearing now, if you're going to be going to your senior year and hey, the consequences are I have to sit out a full year. Well, that's going to be a tough one to try to fake your way through. So if your family really moved into the school district, right? If you're living in the Davis school district and your mom or your dad gets a job in the wherever in the Harriman school district, and your family sells their house and you move and you have all this stuff and you can show this is what happens, and you are in that school. It's not just, you're not faking it. You don't need a hearing. You actually do it. Yes, you should not be penalized for that. But if you're going to fake your way through it, I think that there should be consequences for that, for any sport, whether it's football or basketball. So that would be my way of trying to get around this, is make it easy on the front end for one transfer. No questions asked. Because listen, you can go to a school and this is how life works. This is just how life works. You get a job, you're in the job and it's terrible. You can go work at another job. You go to a college, you don't like the college, you can transfer colleges. It's just so weird that even, let's say you're in band. If you are in band and you don't like the band director, or if you're in dance, or if you're in theater, or if you're in speech and debate, you're free to move. It's just with sports, which is, as far as I know, which is crazy to me. So we should stop idolizing sports in this way, stop holding it up on a pedestal and giving it special rules, and just say, I get it, it's still a little bit special rules, but just say, okay, listen, you picked a school, whether it was in your school district or wasn't in your school district, and for whatever reason, it's not working out and you want to go to a different school, we're not going to penalize you for that after your freshman year or after your sophomore year. So if you go there your freshman year, your sophomore year, and your junior year, and then after your junior year, you're like, I hate it, I want to transfer. Well, you better have a very valid reason for doing that. That would be my way of kind of having a bit of a compromise here, which is you can't just let seniors who tend to be a little bit more physically developed, you can't just let them bond together and go form, super teams, whatever the thing that people are afraid of. They want to do that their freshman and sophomore year. I guess they can kind of figure that out, but that would be how I would fix the current transfer rule. One free transfer after your freshman year, after your sophomore year. If you try to transfer twice or after your junior year, then you got to go through the process, and you sit out 1 year if it's deemed not appropriate. So there'll still be hearings, but just not as many. Okay, finally, this is my most random thought that I've had in a while. Okay, so I have 2 kids who play team sports. My daughter plays volleyball at West Jordan, and my son plays basketball at Judge. And I was sitting there thinking, what if we scored basketball the way that volleyball is scored? Because if you think about it, it's kind of crazy, right? So in volleyball, let's say you have it's best of 5 sets. So you can come out and just get annihilated in the first set, 25-11 or something like that, just crushed in that first set, and still win, still be victorious. You could get crushed in the first 2 and then barely eke out sets 3, 4, and 5, and you win the match. So imagine if this was not volleyball, but this was basketball. So instead of quarters, you have periods. Same thing, right? You have a total of 5. It's either 3, 4, or 5 periods for basketball. You either set a point total like they do in volleyball, or you just have a time. So let's just say we have a time of, we'll just say it's 8 minutes because, that's what it's at right now. So let's say it's an 8-minute period. And at the end of so you lose 30-6 in the first period. Just can't do anything, right? You go into quarter, into period, you make some adjustments, you come back out, and you win the next one 16-15. So if in regular basketball, you would still be down by 23 points going into halftime. And in volleyball basketball, it's tied 1-1. Now imagine if you are up in that first one and you're 4 minutes in and you're up 20-3. Do you go, hey, listen, what if this goes long? Let's pull our starters and play some guys off the end of the bench here to finish out this first quarter. Let's give people rest early, and maybe by the third they're rested, or maybe the losing team is just like, okay, we got to regroup, put in the end of the bench guys. It doesn't really matter here for the end of this quarter. For the last 4 minutes, you just go play. You guys get some experience. We're going to regroup for the next period. It would be crazy. Again, it's not going to happen, but the strategy, I think, would be if there's just little mini games within the total game. I think it would be crazy. And yeah, stats would be skewed because, like your points per game, if you're on a team that's constantly going to 4 and 5 periods, you may have more points per game than a really good team that's routinely winning in 3, or maybe it's points per period. I don't know how but it is kind of wild. That's how volleyball is scored, right? Or tennis, or what would be another, maybe pickleball? Is that how that's scored? Or it's not just the total amount of what happened. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it would be, again, the UHSAA transfer rule proposal? I'm going to actually submit it. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. Probably not. The volleyball rules for scoring will never happen. But I think it would be so interesting to see. Maybe there's a tournament, how there's like the young blood shot clock tournament when kids are younger. What if we just did a tournament where we tried it just to see what would happen? I think it would just be interesting. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking about basketball too much, which is probably true. Well, hey everybody, today is the 14th. Lots of really good games continuing to be on the docket. Go out, support your team. Don't yell at the refs. Don't say horrible, vile, terrible things to student athletes. Be respectful of one another. We're all humans, and I hope you all have a great, wonderful day. Thanks.